So let's look at this stuff today. We have properties of logs. Okay, there are three properties that go along with this. There's the product property. That says if we are multiplying to, well, taking the log of a product, right? It's the log of the product that can turn into the sum of the logs. So if we're taking the log of a product, that becomes the sum of the logs. If we're taking the log of a fraction, right, of a division, that becomes the subtraction of the logs. And then if we have a power, that power comes to the front as a product. Okay, so those are the ones we're going to be using the most. Actually, those are the properties that we use all the time when we're solving logarithms. We'll solve them by condensing, or yes, we'll actually solve by condensing. So our first two examples say, write each in terms of natural log 2 and natural log of 3. Okay, so we have to think, all right, 6 is what number times what other number? That would be 2 times 3. Okay, the natural log of 6 is the same as the natural log of 2 times 3, because 2 times 3 equals 6. So now we can apply the property that says if I am multiplying things together, that actually becomes the sum of their individual natural logs. So the natural log of 6 is also known as the natural log of 2 plus the natural log of 3. All right, and in the second one, first we're going to have division, right? Division becomes subtraction. So that's natural log of 2 minus the natural log of 27. It's always the top minus the bottom. So then let's look at 27 and see if we can write it as multipliers of, 3, right? This is 3 times 3 times 3. Those are the three things that give us 27. So we could write this as 3 to the third power. Okay, so 27 is 3 to the third power. And this allows us to use the property that says the power comes in front. Okay, so our final answer would be natural log of 2 minus 3 times the natural log of 3. Okay, that's how we would do natural log of 2 over 27, right? By writing them in terms of 2 and 3. You have some like that on your assignments that want you to split your normal number into 2 other numbers. Okay, so here is where we're going to do and use this as expanding, right? So we are expanding them. We are no longer going to have multiplication or radicals or divisions, only pluses and minuses. Okay, that's our job to do when we are expanding. So here we have 3 things being multiplied together. 5 times x cubed times y. Okay, so the first thing we do is we write it as the log of 5 plus the log of x cubed plus the log of y. Right, and all these have the same bases, so log base 4, log base 4, log base 4. Okay, so the first thing we do is we get rid of any multiplication. Actually, first you get rid of division, but since there's no division, we can go right to multiplication. And our last step is to get rid of our power, so we'll bring the power in front to have a final answer of log base 4 of 5 plus 3 log base 4 of x plus log base 4 of y. Okay, so we have 3 things that are being added together that are all logs. One has a product of 3. Okay, the second one, first we get rid of division. Okay, division is always what we do first. So that becomes the natural log of the top, which is root 3x minus 5, minus the natural log of 7. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is kind of an algebraic step. We're going to rewrite the radical as a power. Okay, so if we were to do that, the square root is the 1/2 power. Okay, so we don't want to leave any radicals in your natural log stuff, so we change them all to powers. Okay, which allows us to use the power property that says the power comes to the front. So this is 1/2 of the natural log, 3x minus 5 in parentheses, minus the natural log of 7. And for our last example, once again, the first thing we do is change our radical into the 1/3 power. So notice that it says it's the third root. So that's going to be the 1/3 power of x over y. So the 1/3 is the same as the third root. Okay, that's what it's not the natural log cubed. It's the natural log of the third root. That's just the way that their program started writing it. So the 1/3 comes in front. Okay, so the 1/3 goes to all of this stuff, natural log of x over y. Because now we're going to split your x over y into the natural log of x, the top thing, minus the natural log of the bottom thing. Okay? And since both of those things were being rooted in the beginning, the root comes to the outside in parentheses, not to either one of your different terms there. Okay, so that's how we expand. We always do division first, and then addition and subtraction, and then usually a power last. Okay, so now let's work the other way around. Let's condense these, and this is much more handy when we're solving logs, is to be able to condense them, because there's some other log properties that we use when we're solving logs. So condensing, first we take your multipliers, like this 1/2, and we turn it into a power. And this 3 as a multiplier gets turned into a power. Okay, so first we get rid of any multipliers and make them into powers. X to the 1/2 plus log of x plus 1 to the third power. Okay, so products become powers. That's usually what we do first. And now we can take rid of our addition. Addition becomes multiplication. So it's the log of the first thing, which is x to the 1/2, times the second thing, which is x plus 1 cubed, right? So there's less logs. Every time we condense, we get less and less logs. Okay? So the last thing we would do is not leave this 1/2 power. We would instead write the 1/2 power as a square root. So the log of root x times x plus 1 cubed, right, which doesn't look very pretty, but that is it as a condense. So when you're condensing, we should only have one word log and then a bunch of other stuff going on. Okay, here we go again with our condensing. We got to take the 2 and make it into a power. So this is the natural log of x plus 2 squared minus ln x. Okay, our product, our multiplier, becomes the power, right, for that thing's parentheses. And then we're going to do subtraction. Subtraction becomes division. Okay, so I have 1 natural log, and in the numerator, I have the x plus 2 squared, and in the denominator, I just have x. Okay, now you might see it with parentheses around all this, or brackets or something, or you might not. So if you don't choose to put brackets there, that's fine. And if you do choose to put brackets there, that's also fine. Okay. So notice now the 1/3 is on the outside. Okay, so we're not going to mess with the 1/3 until the very end because the 1/3 is on the outside. So we're like our example over here, right, where the 1/3 was on the outside. Okay, so that's what we're going to end up doing here. So addition becomes multiplication. Addition becomes multiplication. So we have log base 2 of x times x minus 4. Okay, and if you really want to multiply that out to get x squared minus 4x, you can. Okay, or you can just leave it like that. Right, there's nothing wrong with leaving it like that. So now we're going to take our 1/3 and make it into the power, right? Which means both of these things are going to get raised to the 1/3 power. And if we remember what happens with powers, they become radicals. Okay, so I'm probably skipping a couple of steps here, and let me actually not skip steps. That would be bad. So we have log base 2 of, sure, let's just do that, x squared minus 4x to the 1/3 power. Okay, so we're multiplying x and x minus 4 there, just so we can condense and have only one set of parentheses. Now we're going to take our 1/3 and we're going to write it as a root. So 1/3 is the third root of x squared minus 4x, and we're taking the log base 2 of that radical. So we have condensed it down to just one log of this crazy thing. Okay, and that's your answer. There we go. Okay, condensing. Condensing, we start off with multiple logs and we end up with a single log. Okay, oh, what's going on here? Okay. First we start with the plus. Okay, we always get rid of plus first because this is looking pretty tricky. So let's condense by doing the plus. So this is ln x minus 2. Plus becomes multiplication. So x minus 2 times x plus 2. Okay, we're going to simplify this, right? We can multiply x plus 2 times x minus 2. That gives us x squared minus 4. Okay, when we multiply that out there together. So I've just simplified that product. That's all I've done is done x plus 2 times x minus 2 and got x squared minus 4. Okay, now we're going to take your 2 in front and make it into a power. So we still have ln x minus natural log of x squared minus 4 to the second power. Okay, so I can drop my parentheses around the outside of natural log there and just have it raised to the second power. And then the last thing I'm going to do is my subtraction. Subtraction becomes division. So I have the natural log on the outside of your numerator, which will be x because that comes in front of your subtraction sign, and your denominator, which is x squared minus 4 squared because that comes after the minus sign. Okay, and like I said, these are very handy when we are trying to solve logs, log equations, being able to use these properties to condense from a lot of logs to a single log. Okay, hope that helps, and we will see you sometime on the next video. Goodbye.